Okay, we're going to go back now to the story I was updating you a few moments ago. Jury selection started today for Jennifer Crumbley. She's been called the most hated mother in America. She and her husband, James Crumbley, face manslaughter charges after their son, Ethan, took a loaded gun to school and then opened fire with it, killing 4 students in 2021. This is the first time that prosecutors have tried to hold parents criminally liable for their child's intentional mass shooting. The Crumbleys bought their son that gun, and on the day of the shooting, they were called to the school because the school was worried about his mental state. They refused to take him home after the school counselors asked him to. Ethan has pleaded guilty to all charges in the deadly November rampage at Oxford High School. He was sentenced in December to life in prison without parole. But now, as his parents plead not guilty in their own cases, we're learning Ethan has had a change of heart about his own guilt. Joining us live from the courthouse in Pontiac, Michigan, is NewsNation national correspondent Alex Caprariello. Alex, big news today. The mother's trial is starting, and Ethan is planning to appeal his own conviction in which he pleaded guilty?
Yeah, that was a rather unexpected turn of events today. The courtroom was informed that Ethan plans to fight back against that conviction of life in prison without the possibility of parole, despite telling a judge that he was guilty of the crimes that he's accused of. It's also entirely possible that Ethan Crumbley could be called as a witness to testify against his own parents, although his lawyers are advising him to invoke his right to remain silent.
Calling docket number 21006-652, People versus Jennifer Crumbley.
Today, an unprecedented trial kicks off. Jennifer Crumbley, mother to a convicted school shooter, Ethan Crumbley, appears for the first time before potential jurors. Jennifer and her husband James face 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter charges connected to their son's deadly shooting, accused of ignoring red flags and failing to intervene before Ethan gunned down 4 students and injured 7 others at Oxford High School in 2021. It's the first time in American history that parents could be held criminally liable for a mass shooting their child committed at their school.
Every parent in America is looking at this case and wondering, what happens if my child goes off the rails and does something terrible? Am I then going to be held responsible for something this significant and this heinous, where I can spend 15 years in prison, just like the Crumbleys are facing if they get convicted?
Attorney Ven Johnson, who represents several victims' families, says the evidence is overwhelming, pointing to the parents' guilt. Not only did James Crumbley purchase the gun for Ethan, which is a violation of federal law, but prosecutors say the parents refused to take him to counseling, despite warning signs, and did not pull him out of school the day of the shooting, despite teachers finding this math worksheet of Ethan's, depicting a gun, blood, and the words, "The thoughts won't stop, help me."
Not just holding the parents responsible simply because the kid did this, but where they actively participated in their actions and or inactions that directly led to these murders and all these injuries.
Jennifer and James Crumbley's trials have been separated, which could mean both parents flip on each other, pointing the finger and placing the blame on the other. Trial attorney Mercedes Colwin says the prosecution could have a tough time proving that both are equally responsible for the deaths of 4 innocent students.
And it may just boil down to who purchased the gun, who had access to the gun, who should have purchased the safety locks, and they could make a distinction.
Okay, so Jennifer Crumbley's trial begins today with jury selection. James Crumbley will go next. That's scheduled to begin March 5th. If convicted, both parents could face up to 15 years in prison for involuntary manslaughter per count.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.